it's up to you guys.
All right.
I could be ready.
Do my starting gag this time, okay? Everyone, shut up. Oh, hello.
That's your
welcome to the 57th PlanetDestiny podcast.
Oh my god.
57? I put 55 in the title.
It's not 55. It's not the 55th.
You put 55?
You told me 55.
I did
oh
not.
My God. Patrick, you are
55.
absolutely ridiculous with this number thing.
You did
Pat
tell us
is
55.
pulling a Pope Bear with the wrong
Did you
number.
pass?
Jesus.
Did you pass grade school? I mean, there's a number sequence that happens.
Man,
it's pretty.
I was like, I think it's 55, but then I checked it and I was like, oh no, we're on the 58th. We're on the
false.
58th.
You went and got omelet. That's what you got. You had omelet on the brain. That is why you did not give me the correct number.
We're on the 58th. Oh my god, guys. Oh my god.
I'm putting it on 58, and
then you left the room to get an omelet.
I'm updating it right now.
Go update it. Hello, welcome to the 58th PlanetDestiny podcast. This is clearly going to be a complete train wreck this week.
No, it's awesome.
Thanks,
because,
Pope. Really appreciate it, Pope.
What did I do wrong?
This is how podcasts get made.
Look, you know what? You are tuning into the real life of a podcast. This isn't the glamorous
real life of a podcast.
the glamorous things that you guys think happens behind the scenes. This is the real deal. This is unedited real drama that happens.
You're talking about raw podcast.
This is raw podcast.
This is raw,
Unlubed.
unedited,
Raw podcast.
Unlubed
live,
podcast.
Rawcast.
reality
This is
podcasting.
rawcast.
Yeah, it's where we talk about such current events as what's not happening in Destiny.
No.
There is
There's
a This
lot
Week in
of
Budget
stuff.
we
Yeah,
could
there's
talk
a-
about.
yeah,
There's
a
skill-based
lot of stuff
matchmaking
going
we could
on.
talk about.
Yeah.
There's a certain upcoming podcast versus podcast match we could talk about.
That's coming.
No,
Yep.
that's
Mhm.
not,
All
I wouldn't-
sorts
I
of
wouldn't-
stuff to
I
talk
wouldn't
about.
really call that news. I would say that's pretty much a predetermined, thing that we're just.
If there's
Isn't that
one
news?
thing I can
Isn't news
request from
predetermined?
you,
What's that?
there's one thing that I can request from you, Pope. It's,
What is that?
for the love of God,
What's that?
please stop making it like writing checks that your ass can't catch. Can't cash. There we go. Got it. Nailed it.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're kicking that hornet's nest really hard, man.
You're kicking that hornet's
Hey,
nest.
you know what?
I'm
You're
the
just
one
like-
standing close to it.
Like punching it and then drop kicking it and just like, meanwhile I'm like, Pope, shut up.
You know how
No,
the team that wins the Super Bowl always has a quote from the other team hanging on the wall to
Right.
get them motivated?
Right.
Pope is featured in that quote.
Yes.
Hey, you know what
Yeah.
though? I really don't care. I am confident in your skills. I'm confident in your skills. So I'm not really concerned about the podcast throwdown because I know that you're going to carry us.
That's
We
team
should
play
explain
right
what this
there.
is.
Pope is a team player.
I am
should explain.
a team player. I know
We
what's
should
going to happen.
explain what this podcast throwdown is, real
Okay.
Yeah,
quick.
all right.
Yeah. Do the rundown.
Pope, you explain it because you're the one that's
Yeah.
been kicking the hornet's nest for the past 2
Mouthing.
weeks.
Mouthing
Mouthing
off.
off on Twitter.
So a while back, these Crucible Radio guys started this show about PvP tactics, and I felt that it was important that with all their superior. Oh, here, hold on. I gotta tell my son something. Here, take care of this.
Wow.
I got it.
Way to shade step
He's
that one.
gonna pass the buck off on to me during the showdown. I'll guess
Right
I'll
out of that.
explain
Oh
the
my
whole
God.
thing too. It's just the way this is gonna work. All right. So about 2 weeks ago, the Crucible Radio podcast guys, they're pretty good. They have a podcast all about the Crucible and PvP. And about 2 weeks ago, Pope Bear was like, "Hey, I challenge you guys. We're gonna kick your ass in a 3v3."
I think the quote was, "You guys suck, and I'm going to prove it."
Yeah, there we go. We'll go with that. He's not here to defend himself right now, anyway. So basically, Pope challenged them, and then for 2 weeks, he has been just going off on Twitter about how we're gonna kick their ass.
That's right.
So hard.
That's right.
And then the Crucible Radio guys are like, "Okay, let's practice." And so they've been practicing.
That's
You
right.
know
That's
what
a novel
we've been doing,
thought.
Pope? You know what we've been doing, Pope?
What have we been doing?
playing
not
the division.
practicing
Well,
at all.
see,
I've been
that's-
seeing
that's-
I've been seeing Pope on my friends list rating.
Yeah, well,
Not
see,
practicing with me.
here's the thing.
Thanks a lot.
I have
Shade Bear.
I have so
Shade Step
much
Bear.
I have so much confidence in our ability to
Perform under pressure.
just absolutely dominate this thing that I don't think we needed practice.
Oh my god.
We've practiced enough. We're perfect.
You know what? To be honest with you, I don't even know the rule set.
Right
So-
now, you know what I'm hearing from you guys is a bunch of I can't.
No,
I want to
no,
hear
we
I
can.
can.
About 5 minutes before the game, I'm going to throw on my Titan and I'm going to move some stuff around, and I'm going to, I'm just gonna wing it.
There is a podcast's honor at stake, and you guys need to defend it. While
It's going to be good.
I want to wake up tomorrow to good news.
The good news.
There'll be good news. The good news is that the winning team, okay, I should say what's at stake here is the losing team needs to go on the winning team's podcast, and they will be as guests, and they are required to expand upon a series of statements about how good the other podcast team is at PvP and
I
better
agreed to
than
none
them.
of this.
Has anybody
That's-
heard
I didn't
this
agree to
before?
any of
This is written in canon. This is part of the rules. So you can send a representative, and in this case, the Planet Destiny podcast, it would be me since I'm the big mouth in this. But but you
I
know,
thought you were gonna say me.
no, it's either but obviously, I mean, if we don't win, it's because Patrick didn't bring his A game. But so we're really we're really gonna.
You know what?
Man, so
Fuck
much
it. I'm
shade.
using No Land Beyond sidearm for the entire tournament, just to make sure
I
we
thought that
lose.
was banned. I thought that was banned.
Sidearm is banned, so I'll use No Land
But we
Beyond.
talked about
and a
that
sniper.
that being okay as long as we don't use it for the ammo glitch, right?
For ammo glitching.
If you could use.
Pope, I
sidearm.
thought you said you didn't know the rules.
You know what? So
Fine.
maybe I'm understanding.
Playing
how
pretty
much,
fast and loose here. It sounds
Yeah,
like.
there's a whole lot of hearsay coming out of Pope's mouth.
So no, I have been practicing a little bit. I have been getting some help from some of my buddies
You've been practicing?
Thorn.
in the
Been learning how to use Thorn.
just a little bit.
Shoot
So
people 3
anyway,
times.
I'm not using Thorn.
We should have fun. One of the rules is that only one player per team can have Thorn on, and so I went to the wall and I bought Thorn. I had deleted it a long time ago, and I'm gonna have it
Good
in my
man.
backup. I'm not
Have you
gonna
not
use.
been-
I am
have you
not
not
gonna
been
use
using it?
Thorn. However, there is a side bet with Birds. If I kill him once during this with Thorn, he will have to start singing "Every Rose Has Its Thorn" at as loud as possible, and talk over any call-outs for the entirety of the song while during the match. So
Wow.
so there's a
You
little
gotta
side
be, you gotta
bet.
use that
That's
tactically.
tactical, man. That's
Right, so
tactical
I'm gonna pull
advantage.
it out at a really sweaty moment, kill Birds with it, and then he's gonna have to dominate the vocal chat with "Every Rose Has Its Thorn" for a full rendition of the song. So that's a side bet that Birds and I have. I really dislike Thorn that much. So, but
Pope, I want to
that's
just
out
let
there.
you know. I just want to let you know that yes, Thorn is broken, but it's actually not as easy to just immediately pick up because of the recoil and the way it reacts. I
Use
just want
perfect balance.
to
You're good. Use perfect balance. You're good.
I'm not worried.
I want you to know
guys.
that.
I'm not worried. I never have.
It's Thorn.
It's Thorn.
It's a 3-shot kill
Wait,
to the
wait.
body.
Is it hard to use the Galahorn? It sure is. You've got to press the trigger, and it goes.
It respawns differently. It respawns differently from year one. I just want you to know that.
All
From
right.
somebody who picked it up and was like, "Oh, this is a different feeling Thorn." It's still godly to be able to have a 3-shot to the body, but still, I just want you to know that.
Pope,
Well,
I was using it today. It's super easy.
Yeah, it's like this. It's like kink, kink, kink. The recoil pattern when it's coming back down, you can fire it and hit your target when it's still up in the air like this graphically. You don't even have to wait for it to like line up its sight. You just go pink, 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 and it's still the recoil is
Oh,
up
I
here.
didn't realize it had auto aim. See, that was my problem.
It is
I was aiming with it.
stupid auto aim. You don't need to actually aim. You don't have to wait for the graphic or
can we
the
get
animation.
can we
back
get
down.
off the Thorn
Fine.
hate train? Because this is never going to end if I let you rant.
Thorn is the most broken piece of crap in the game, and
that's the
All
last
right,
thing you're
so
going to
that's
say
the
about
last
it.
thing
for
I'm
this
gonna say.
Podcast Throwdown is going to be after this podcast.
That's
Yes.
right.
So
That's
you
right.
guys are going to warm up a little bit. There'll be a little bit of intermission. I think we'll be live streaming the whole time, though.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then
I
we'll
think
go
folks
right
can-
into
Yeah.
it. We'll have the Crucible Radio guys here.
right.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's as much shit talking is going on. I think it
Yes.
is meant to be a pretty friendly thing.
It is. We
have a little
like
bit of
those guys.
fun.
Yeah.
You know, and those guys are all super cool, and they throw a great podcast down. They're about to get their ass kicked, but
Right.
you know, much respect.
So and we've got Typhoon Trav and Rabby, the Rabby V.
Robbie V.
He's gonna be those two guys are gonna be our shoutcasters. They're gonna do some pre and post game interviews. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna have a good time. So you guys, if you're in the chat right now, make sure to stick around. At 8 o'clock, we're gonna end the podcast. You're gonna get a chance to hang out with us for about a half an hour while Patrick, Tefty, and I kind of get our SHIT together and figure out what classes we're gonna be using. And anyway,
Sun singers all around.
yeah, and I get a
Band
chance to
can't do
read the
that.
rule set and everything like that. And then we'll start up promptly at 8:30. So should be a lot of fun.
That will be fun.
Yeah.
So we do have some stuff to talk about in this week's podcast, other than other podcasts and fighting with them.
Mm-hmm.
There was a weekly update today. You guys want to talk about the weekly update?
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
do it.
All right.
Please run me through it because I read it like on my phone and I didn't get a chance to sit down and really get into the meat of it.
So I think the big thing was they showed off their new Twitch studio.
Right.
Bungie's been on Twitch before. Normally, they get big on Twitch right before they're about to announce some big content, which I find this to be interesting because they are saying that all this is going to really start up in March, and there's predictions out there that we'll see new content in April. So that would kind of coincide with that, I think. They showed some pretty cool pictures off of their new studio. They got green screens, desks, multiple monitors for gaming on. They showed a few of the people involved, and they also said that they're going to have at least a weekly event planned. It may not be like a big reveal. It may not be a Dreadnought walkthrough. Maybe it'll just be Cosmo bringing people through the raid, but they're planning on doing something at least weekly on their Twitch page, which I got to say I'm pretty excited about because I like when they get people who are involved in making that game, or even people who are just kind of on the edges of it, like in any respect, when you get more context out of the planning and the areas in the game, I really like it. So I'm excited for this. Hopefully they'll do some cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Agreed.
if you remember back to year one, they what I'm hoping that they do, and I'm not sure if this is what's going to happen, but I really hope that they go this route. When they were talking about it in the weekly update, it made it sound like they might take the podcast that they do, right? That they used to do a
Luke Smith used to do the
Yeah,
podcast,
that was
right?
a long time.
The long time ago.
Long time
right.
ago.
And so they're gonna do an element of that, but it's gonna be Twitch style, and it's gonna be. I'm guessing that it's probably gonna be something like that, where they're gonna be interviewing people from the studio. So Deej is gonna go out and he's gonna find people in the studio to come over and sit down and kind of like have a coffee talk, And
That'd be
so
fun.
we
Awesome.
get to. So they used to do. It's a kind of an amalgamation. I would imagine it would be an amalgamation of two different things. One is the Breaking In series that used to be on the blog, the podcast, or the blog. It was a written series called the Breaking In series, and then they used to do a podcast that was recorded. So bring those together into a Twitch style interview with Bungie devs that is led by Deej. If that's what we're getting, then I'm going to be tuning in every week. I'm really excited.
I'm very excited for it. I'm also excited for the fact that it is foreshadowing the coming months of stuff that's going to be talked about and get released. Because when they were doing those Twitch releases and talking about the content and bringing people on, that was really cool. I just assumed that they had a space for that always. I didn't realize that they had to actually move their whole situation around
Each time.
Yeah, exactly. To put it together and remember when they had Triple Wreck and showed off Trials of Osiris for the first time?
On the theater.
That was so cool. That was so cool. I wanted to see
Yeah.
more of that. So it clues me more into why they haven't done that, because it's actually a pain in the ass for them to set that up. So hopefully we do see some great content that comes out, and also more weekly stuff being revealed, you know?
Yeah. And also it's live, so the opportunity for some information to slip is going to be, moment to moment here. We're talking raw footage that YouTubers are just going to go crazy for.
Yes. Or inaccurate information. Remember when they were doing Crota's End? They had, I think, the designer of the Crota's End raid in there. And then one of the guys said that, yes, there was another chest in the Vault of Glass. But it sounded like he said there was another chest in the Vault of Glass, but it was actually an answer to a different question.
Yeah,
And then
I was in
everybody exploded. You were in that, right? Yeah.
That was way back when I was doing
It was the Crota's End one.
Yeah, Dad's a Destiny, and I approached Deej to do a ride-alongs, and so we set up 2 ride-alongs, and that's when the whole series got started. But we did one with Rob Adams on Earth, right? And then we did another one with the Crucible team, or the raid team in Crota's End, and it was a ton of fun. But I remember Urk was in there, and we were just gonna go take a pee break, right? And everybody was kind of like breaking up, and Urk did this joke. He's a very has a very dry sarcasm, and then people on the internet took it seriously, and it was reported in like Kotaku, and all these people like started reporting about it, and it was just hilarious. I mean,
Another chest in Vault of Glass.
Another chest in Vault of Glass. Yep. And he was actually answering another question, if you listen to the yeah.
So hopefully we're gonna get more of that misinformation from these live streams.
Yeah.
But that it is interesting, the timing of it. Right before April, we're expecting to see this next update. We don't even know what to call it, really. Do we call it DLC? Do we call it an update? Do we call it a PvE event? What the hell is this?
Let's just call it an update.
Okay, update. And
content drop.
We're expecting it to drop. We know it's going to drop in spring. Spring is, a long set of months. If it came in April, they're ramping this thing up in March. Maybe they do a ride along, get things started off slow, and then toward the end of March, they start releasing some new details on this update. That'd be super cool. I don't know that it's truth, but it'd be cool.
It seems like the timeline would be that. Is that they're building the studio, they start talking, doing stuff, testing it out in March, and then we officially get the sandbox update and the overall content that they're talking about for PvE getting revamped. And that's fun. It's exciting. I like that stuff. It makes me get giddy.
Yeah. And then the other thing, looking at this, is we know about the CEO changeover, and since then we've seen a lot more communication out of Bungie. And now we're going to get even more. It feels almost like there's a change of culture happening at Bungie, and it's very exciting. Like from the outside looking in, I gotta say it's really exciting.
They're waking up from their winter hibernation now.
Well,
feels like.
I think they got a boot in their ass, is what it seems like.
Or maybe they just got the freedom to do what they thought they needed to do.
That's more it. I'm sorry, you're right. You probably phrased it better that way.
I don't know. I think a lot of this stuff is reaction. Well, I don't know. The matchmaking updates are definitely reactionary to the community. Because if we didn't say anything and we're like, whatever, I like getting the sweatiest matches ever every time I queue up in the Crucible. We didn't say anything, then they would not be adjusting those values and ratios right now.
We've never seen it like this. I mean, we're getting nearly daily updates on changes they're making to the Crucible. It's crazy how fast it's changing.
Well, and which makes you think that maybe, I don't know. I personally appreciate the information, and I think it's.
Oh yeah.
I think it's the right direction. It gives people it. What it does is it essentially crowdsources the process, and that was my contention the entire time. We're here. We're wanting this to be successful, just like you. Include us in the process, and let's start tweaking those levers and get this thing going. And it looks like they're doing it. They adjusted one playlist this week, right?
Yeah.
They did Control.
And
they did it multiple times this week, right?
Right. And so the reaction to the community was, hey, getting closer. Oh, it's the closest lag-free, fun experience that I think that people have had in a while. I mean, have you guys had a chance to play Control?
In my opinion, it almost doesn't matter if you think that it's better or not, as long as you know they're working to get it better, gives you hope. And yes, I do think it's better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I played it a lot yesterday.
I played, was it? Yeah, yesterday I played it for about 4 hours before the reset hit, and everything felt good. Like the only games that were really bad. Fortunately, every time there was someone that was red bar, they would also come into the stream and start talking to me a little bit, and I would figure out where they're from or why are they red bar. And turns out that those people just had really, really bad internet, and it's
Okay.
just luck of the draw that they got like matched up against us. But for the most part, everything felt good. My one biggest complaint though is that green bars don't. There's a lot of times where people that have green bars, they don't feel like green bars. They're definitely yellow bars, but it's just showing as green bar. It's difficult to explain, but when you shoot someone and it takes like a quarter to half second for damage to pop up, and they're moving around kind of erratically, and then you get killed by him, and you're like, okay, that guy's gonna have like a yellow bar. Nope, it is full green, and
Yeah.
that gets a little shifty when you see that multiple games in a row.
I was watching Tefty's stream yesterday, and you did an interesting test, Tefty, is you started off as a single player just going into control, and then you brought in a group. And I actually did the same thing today just because I
Same.
wanted to kind of feel how it felt as well. And I had the exact same experience I thought that you
Yeah.
did. Is that single player, I felt it was marvelous. Like the
Mhm.
Yep.
connection's never been so good. Like shots were registering exactly when I thought they should have. People were dying exactly when they should have. Once I brought in a group, it started to feel more like that old school Iron Banner experience, but not as bad.
Yeah.
People
How
were
many
still dying approximately when they were supposed to, with some exceptions.
How many people in your group?
I brought in it was a group of 5, including myself.
5. Okay, yeah. So I did a test. I was on Xbox first. I did the solo queuing into control, and largely definitely saw an improvement. There was a few times that one person got in there that maybe had a red bar, but it didn't didn't turn the whole lobby into a laggy feeling lobby where everybody had problems with connecting damage or anything like that. As soon as I brought in 3 more people, so it was a 4-person fire team, because I knew not to do 6 team. I was like, 6 team is probably going to be trash. I'm just going to stay away from it. Brought in 4 people, or 4 people total, including myself, and the connections definitely changed. There was times where the matches had really bad bullet registration, all that, and then there was times where some people were skipping around. There was times where I felt like I was a god at one point, where people were trying to hit me with the last word and they couldn't. And I was like, this is crazy. So that was very telling. And then I switched over to the PS4, and I think I just did a 3-man team. Yeah, including myself. One person was from Australia, and
Oh God.
no, surprisingly, it didn't have a problem.
Huh.
He wasn't red bar. He was yellow bar, and he said he had 5 up in Australia, which I was like, oh, that's good, And the majority of those matches were not bad at all. Like my shots were registering and connecting, and then towards the end, another 3-man team got in there, and their connection definitely affected the lobby. But it's a step in the right direction. Definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah. I did the same thing. I went in solo for about an hour and a half or so, and my only bad experience from that is constantly getting dropped into games that are already going on.
Yeah.
That's the solo player's dilemma, right?
Yeah, that's a solo player's limit. That got old quick. I think it was half the games I joined were already going on, where we're like 2 or 3 minutes in, so people had supers up and stuff. Also, just a side note, can you please remove Sky Shock from control? Please. Just please.
And First Light.
And
Let's
First
not
Light.
have First Light.
Yeah.
Every single one of those big maps, it goes to time.
Yeah,
That's a very clear indicator that it doesn't work for that game mode. But
Sky Shock is the one First Light is the one that's on the moon, right?
Yeah.
That map is miserable. It's so big. There's so many people just like camping rocks with sniper rifles, just like waiting for somebody to walk by. It takes forever.
And
There's no vehicles anymore. In the beta, there were vehicles in there, so you could at least speed up the gameplay with that. And
That's
not
true,
anymore.
yeah.
And then I did the 3-man group going into control. and it still felt good with 3 people. One was located in, I think, Virginia, the other in New York, and everything felt solid. Everything felt solid. We still got those like one or two random players. The one of them that came in a chat was from Arkansas, and he had like a 5 down, point 0.4 up connection.
Oh,
So like there was just no way that he was going to be able to play without a red bar. There's absolutely
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah.
He was really cool in chat though. You know, props to you. I don't.
Surprised you could hear him.
But yeah, overall massive improvement thus far. I don't think there's much you can do about joining games that are late or that are already going on as a solo
Yeah.
player though.
They've got to fill those games up, right?
Yeah, they have to. Well,
So
so one of the things that I was trying to do the day before when with getting Monte Carlo footage, like I ended up going in with like a larger team to try to fill this out, and 2 games in a row, we did really well against the enemy team in the first minute or two, and everyone left except for one person, and then someone would join in, and then as that person is joining in, the last person would leave. And so then we're just running around the map for about 30, 40 seconds,
just killing them.
unable to find anyone because they're loading in. And then finally that person loads in, sees the only person on his team, starts to leave, but someone else joined, and the map ended up going until there were 2 minutes left.
I never
Actually-
leave when I'm in that situation. I always stay and just run around like a madman trying not to get shot.
Yeah, if
like
anything,
1v60.
if anything, Bungie needs to implement something where it's like, okay, there's not enough people left on this team for a good match to happen. If no one is actually in the game within like 15 to 20 seconds, it's going to get called.
The mercy rule should kick in at that point.
Yeah.
Mercy rule needs to kick in because that is probably one of the most infuriating things to happen in the Crucible. And there's no one enjoys that. The team that's winning, the guy that joins in that's losing, there is zero good that can happen from that. Just mercy rule it in the game.
Are we all
So
pretty
my mic was
positive on the
muted. That was
changes
pretty
so
awesome.
far? Like, is everybody liking what's happening in control? You know, do you feel like we're having net positives here?
Yeah.
Well, so of the people that played, 41% of the people that are voting in the poll said that they feel like the matchmaking and control was better this week. 48% haven't had a chance to even play it yet. So 10% are saying no. So for me, I find that the games were better. I played some control. I found that they were better. There was that anomaly of the lagging player, but that's just going to happen with peer-to-peer connections. And for my experience in California, matchmaking for a few hours, I found that the majority of the games were fun and engaging. But one of the things that we don't get to see, and I wanted to bring up with you guys, is the new playlist, the solo playlist. Are you finding that it's? And I apologize if you brought this up when I stepped away, but did you? Are you finding that it's matching you, like dropping you into games that are almost over, and that it's like really mismatching you when you go in by yourself to them?
Yeah,
Wait, I
we
think
went over
Patrick
it a
was
little
talking
bit.
about that,
You
yeah.
guys
We went
went
over
over
it a
that,
little
okay.
bit. A little bit.
when you
Yeah,
solo
it
queue,
happened a lot with solo play.
You're talking.
Yeah, so-
well, you guys are talking about solo queuing into the
66.
control playlist,
Right,
not
and
the
I'm talking
freelance
about
playlist.
Yeah,
the
not
freelance
freelance,
playlist. Yeah, so I played a bit of the freelance playlist, and
So did I.
I'm thinking that needs to be adjusted, to be honest with you, because I'd say 2 out of 5 matches, it placed me in games that were already going, and I was losing, right? So that's not fun. And
No.
I don't know what they do with their matchmaking on that end. They tweak the levers on that end, but I was curious if you guys had that same experience. I'm gonna put up a poll here for a second in the chat to find out what their experience is like. But have you guys found that at
You
all?
have to fill those games up, though, Pope. You can't leave those games empty, right? You can't leave it as a 6v4. I mean,
You know what they need to do? They need to do exactly what Call of Duty does, is say a thing that says loss stat prevention or whatever. Because I think some people would, I think some people have a problem with that, jumping into a losing game and then feeling like they're going to lose right away, and it goes on their stats.
There's also
They did
there's
what's
also
called-
a massive disadvantage too. It's like people who don't have their supers up. There could be heavy ammo up as you just
Oh,
join
it's huge,
in.
yeah.
It's
Huge disadvantage. But I think if people felt like it just didn't count towards their whatever their end game is, and they joined a game halfway through, and it just was essentially going to give you a drop for completing it. I think there might be a better, I don't know, it might have a better result for people.
It was pretty funny. I actually really enjoyed the 6v6 freelance playlist when I got to try it last week. Like that, if that playlist was around permanently, that's how I would get footage for weapons. For
seems
my
like
reviews.
they're at this point. It seems like they're flopping it 3v3 then 6v6.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to continue.
It felt good. The 6v6 felt good. 3v3 on the other hand, so I was getting footage from Monte Carlo, and I don't know if you guys saw that awesome display of that timeline of events, but basically went into the 3v3 solo. Or I went in a bunch of other playlists and like just got maps that didn't work for Monte Carlo, like First Light, Sky Shock, all the big maps or games that were already over, so couldn't get footage. And I was like, okay, we're gonna try out 3v3 freelance. Join in. I see Asteroid from 13 Devils, and then a bunch of other players that are all on his skill level, all wielding Thorn, Last Word, Party Crashers, Fellow Winners.
Have fun with that Monte Carlo.
And I was just sitting there going, what the fuck? So it actually was an extremely close game. I was doing a really cheesy thing with Monte Carlo where you use a Stormcaller and then you just you zap them and then hit a couple shots with Monte Carlo. And you get your charge back on your melee.
That's what I do with Knives Hunter too.
It's super super cheesy, and it works. But yeah, it was not a fun match to try to get Monte Carlo footage from. It was a great match, but I was just sitting there going, this isn't working too well against tier 1 players with tier 1 loadouts.
I'll tell you, my experience with that 3v3 freelance has not been positive so far. I did enjoy the 6v6 last week, but the 3v3, it's like every match is super sweaty and the lag is insane. So it's like the matchmaking changes haven't entered that 3v3 freelance playlist. In my opinion, it's so hard in there. It's like in 6v6, that's a perfect place to get weapon footage, right? If you're doing, a weapon review or you're just messing around, that's a perfect place. But that 3v3 playlist, the freelance man, it was like impossible. Like I just had to sweat all the time.
And they're 42% of the chat is showing that they also found that they were joining games almost over or, in the freelance playlist. So it seems like we're not alone in at least I'm not alone in my experience of that.
That's my experience playing as a single. When I play as a solo, I join a lot of matches that are halfway done, and that's because you need to fill those spots. It just is a fact of life. If you don't want to be that person, join a group, and you don't have to do that.
Yeah, I don't like that argument, Briar.
But you got to fill them up, Pope. I mean, I understand that you don't want to be the guy that fills that spot, but you also don't want to be the guy that is left on a 3-man team against 6 people.
Okay, so I think that there should be I agree with you, Briar, but I think there should be some mechanism that when the game is, what would that point spread need to be for you not to be dropped into that game?
You have the mercy rule. We talked about that earlier.
Right, I understand that, but I think the mercy rule maybe is too much of a point spread. I don't want to come into a game that's 2,000 points down. Right? I don't want to.
Where though?
Where's the? That's my point. Is that I think that those numbers need to be massaged a little bit as to when you are as a solo queuing player dropped into a game, and you're X amount behind. Is that game then just like you said, mercy ruled? Is it just once a player drops and you're so far down, does it just end the game? Just ends it like that, and then doesn't bother putting somebody back in, no matter where they are, because the way that mercy rules work is that it's based off of amount of points from start of the game, right? So I'm saying that maybe those rules should be tweaked a little bit as to how mercy rule is applied when queuing in solo playlists.
I can see that. I wouldn't want to see him get too aggressive because there are times that, and it's really gratifying when this happens. You get dropped into a game that's halfway finished. Your team has a big is way behind, and you come back and it's like there's a 100-point difference in the last 10 seconds and you pop your sweeper and get 3 kills to like win the game. That is super gratifying. It ends up on YouTube a lot. You know,
Yeah.
I like those games.
Well, Aziz brings up a very, very, very good point. We need to ask ourselves in the first place, why are people leaving those games?
Because people don't have to lose. People rage quit all the time in every multiplayer game.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so you could say that, right? But if it's happening a lot, right?
It depends on the map.
You know what
map.
we need, Pope, is we need
Yeah.
to tune the matchmaking so there's more skill based. That way, that way you don't get crushed by these players who are so much better than you.
No, stop.
Briar, you better tell people you're kidding right now.
I am definitely kidding.
Okay. Oh my God. Well, okay, so you're right. Now you see, I guess, when we're opening this dialogue with Bungie and this process of tweaking these settings, I feel like the salt goes down a little bit because people start realizing the conundrum that Bungie is in. Where is the balancing point? Where's that fine line? And it's not as easy as people think. Talking to Leif last week was eye-opening to me because he brought into the conversation some very good questions that I hadn't brought up, that it's much more dynamic than we give it credit for, that we think it's so easy, but it's just really not.
Well,
some of the problem things, like, you go ahead, Tev.
Okay, so the problem right now is that they didn't foresee this when they developed the platform, and then they put in the mercy rule. The mercy rule was a great start, but it's just like you're talking about. The mercy rule has to have various colors to it. Like, for instance, if there's a 10,000 point spread in a game, and it's like 18,000 to 8,000, don't fill those slots up. Don't add people into that game, or so let's say it drops down to 2 people left on one team. Just mercy it right there. 18,008. That's the end of the game. You know, like, it needs different variables to it. And I get what you're saying, Brian. It is fun to drop into a game and make an epic comeback. But at a certain point, it's like if you're a 6-man team running around for one person, and it's 18,008. Like, and we should call that game.
I completely agree. There should be a mercy rule, and they should massage the rules for that so that it kicks off when it's applicable. Like when. Because nobody likes to be in that spot, and you don't like taking that loss. You know, it's
and that's the other thing.
To take that loss.
Yeah, like I said earlier, like in Call of Duty, they have a loss stat prevention.
Yeah.
So if you do join in a game in progress, it doesn't count towards your stats. So people can feel less like, oh, it's going to go towards my a ratio of wins or whatever.
I would like to see people that are rage quitting get penalized for that.
Well, sometimes I think you have to look at the reason for someone rage quitting too. Say, I really remember a while back where they did the PvE thing with okay, these are the strikes that people are leaving a lot. Why are they leaving? Okay, let's make changes to those strikes. We need to look at that in PvP as well, with the maps. Which maps are people leaving right at the start or very close to the start of the game?
I can only imagine that that's what they're doing, that they're looking into that.
Yeah. And I can guarantee you, I only want to play Skyshock once per day. I'd actually like to never play it, truthfully. But if I get put in it once, okay, I'll play ball. But if I get in there a second or third time, I'm not playing that game.
Backing out.
That goes to time.
Would you say that putting in a voting system would help on that?
To a degree, yeah. One of the major problems with voting systems is that the community will kind of latch on to a very select group of maps, and you don't really get to play any of the other ones. Like, say everyone really likes Rusted Lands and Asylum. Cool.
Look at Black Ops 2 in Nuketown for an example of how this doesn't work.
Yeah, look at Counter-Strike. Look at Counter-Strike. Everyone wants to play Dust 2, or no one wants to play the original Dust or something.
Or Cathedral Dusk, you would never play it. I mean, I don't like the map, but I would like to play it every now and then.
But okay, so here's my point. Like, by instituting a crowdsourcing type voting system like that, doesn't that in real time give Bungie information as to what they need to do to adjust those maps to make them fun and playable? I mean, wouldn't a discussion with the community as to why Cathedral is just a hated map by a lot of people and voted downvoted every time it comes up, I mean, what would happen if they took those automatic doors out? I mean, would that change the people's perception of the game? Because I think that if
Black
those,
Shield.
I'm sorry, Black Shield. I apologize, but my question is, by us crowdsourcing or voting through that process, doesn't that give them information to adjust spawns, to adjust why are people not wanting to play those maps? It's not just simply because they're bad maps. All they know is that they don't like it, right? So isn't it their job then to figure out what they don't like about it?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you for Cathedral of Dusk, it's a really long map.
It spawns you way back in like
it spawns you really far back,
and boonies.
It always feels like you're working uphill, like you never have the high ground on that map.
That's true.
It's a very difficult map to get proper positioning on due to that stuff. But a quicker fix would be, kind of, just cordon off, the back portions of the map, so you don't spawn so far back. On Rift, like Rift is a prime example of why Cathedral of Dusk is so bad, because you rarely ever actually cap the rift on that map because you have to move so far back into the enemy spawn. It's really, really difficult to do that when the enemy keeps spawning so far back on there.
So the adjustments then the adjustments are made to the maps, and an announcement goes out, from the PvP team. We adjust, we've seen that people are downvoting, Cathedral, so we've adjusted the spawns. We're going to put it back into the rotation.
We cut it in half, made 2 maps.
Took out the control points and put them closer together.
It's not really cut it in half. Cut it into thirds and then only use the center section, and then we're probably going to be good. That actually might work, and then just instead of having spawns on the ends, make it on like kind of the top and bottom sections. That might actually work. No, it'd
be a fun Rumble map.
Yeah, it'd be a very fun Rumble map.
I don't think the aesthetics of Cathedral, the layout, the stuff is fun for me. I like that map. I like the concept of the uphill on both sides, right? That it's a symmetrical map with more of. But think of that map with a game mode like King of the Hill. Think of it with different types of game modes. It's a good map. It's just the spawns are a little bit off, what I'm trying to.
It doesn't work for any of the current game modes, really.
Right, and what I'm trying to talk about is that can't Bungie continue this process of including the community in this crowdsourcing of them to improve the game? I mean,
absolutely.
This is a mechanism. Maybe there's some downsides to the voting system, but ultimately, I hope that they would institute these types of things to help us help them.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes they make voting systems that are a little more complex. Like a map can only be voted on once, and then after that, it's out of the rotation for like 2 or 3. And a map can only be voted down like 3 times in a row before it kind of becomes automatic. I think that kind of a system could work. So that way, a Cathedral of Dust does like kind of get forced to be played every once in a while. So fans of that map are going to get a chance to play it. And you don't have a Nuketown and Black Ops 2 scenario where it's that map over and over and over again.
Right. And Bungie can institute, like, say they're making changes to a map, right? And they've adjusted a map and they want people to play it. So they institute it where in the voting system, it comes up as option A and B. You don't get an option not to play it, right? It's when you see that, you know that so it tells the player base, hey, when you see A and B option, both the same map, that's because we've tweaked it and we want your opinion on it. So play it. And then there's a place in the forum to be able to. I'm just saying that anytime that you're including us, that's my stance on this. Anytime you're including us in the process of giving feedback for this game, you're going to end up winning out in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I agree on that, Bob.
As a quick side note, has anyone noticed that? It feels like the pool of maps has changed for Control playlist. Like, not only did they update the matchmaking, but they updated the map playlist because
they brought those bigger maps back.
The bigger maps are back in. That is absolutely confirmed. I've been playing Crossroads a bunch. which is one
I've
of
noticed
those.
that popping up more.
It's kind of a larger map. It's weird, but
I don't mind that one as much because it's interesting looking.
it's interesting. It's one that really benefits from having communication, so I can tell my
Yeah.
team, "Yo, just cap A and C. Don't cap B on this map. Stop it."
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
I
and
was thinking.
one more
Right,
thing:
right.
spawns. Do
Mm-hmm.
spawns feel weird at all to you guys ever since the update? I say this because during that 4 hour testing stream, enemies were constantly spawning around me. Like say I have seed point. It is controlled. It has been controlled for the entire game. We're not capping into the points. Nothing has changed. All of a sudden, enemies spawning around me. Everyone's in like normal positions. I've been seeing a lot of really weird spawning things.
It did happen
going.
a little bit last night. We were playing Dungeons,
Huh?
whatever it's called, the map on the Dreadnought, and there was a few times where I spawned into a control point, and there was already 3 enemies right there, and I was pretty much spawn killed. I was like,
Yeah, no, that happened multiple times to
So
me.
I think that they're adjusting the spawns, and they adjusted the playlist. Like there was something I know you're right to that, because I was playing what playlist were we playing the other day where we just kept getting spawn killed? It was
Rift?
Rift. No, but it was
Rift is
Rift.
known for that though.
But it was it Rift? It had to have been.
I mean, spawn killing in Rift is notorious.
Yeah, I mean you're either in your zone or by the rift when you spawn in there. You don't spawn in the enemy zone.
I mean, it's super fun to do. You bring an invective in there and you just go to town.
Yeah, or you get heavy.
Yeah.
And because machine gun ammo is ridiculous if you have the right machine gun. I mean, like it happened yesterday when I was on Xbox. I used my zombie apocalypse. I'm sorry, Pat. Used my zombie apocalypse and mowed down tons of people, and suddenly heavy ammo coming in, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I need more heavy ammo. Thanks. I need that refill."
I use Quillam's Terminus. Quillam's is honestly better because I don't have to reload it.
Yeah, Cocoon is killer. Just
Cocoon
switch to a
is
sniper, pick
so
a
good.
couple people off. Oh, my heavy is ready to go.
Yep.
True. Yeah.
No reload needed.
I wish they would bring back. I think it's Bastion, isn't it, on Mars? For the control, is it Bastion?
That's that big one.
Yeah, the bit.
Yeah, the big
Sparrows?
one that has some like
It's back.
great.
It's still back.
Yeah,
Is it in there?
Yeah,
It's
it's
in
in
there.
there because I've run
Really?
into it 2
Yeah.
times.
I've run
Really?
it in the
On
last
Control?
couple of weeks.
It's
I've run
very
into it a
low
few
then.
times.
It's a very low rate then,
Yeah.
because
It
I haven't
doesn't
run into it
doesn't
at
pop
all.
up often, but it does
Yeah.
it does show up every now and then.
I missed that. Map.
I like that map too. I think they could do the same thing with Cathedral as they could do with that map. So with that map you have your Sparrow that you can pull out, right?
Mhm.
But
Yep.
I
got a
really
fun
feel
story to
like,
tell.
I really feel like they can push the spawns to the action more. You know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
They can push us up further, and that's one of those maps. I understand you have your Sparrow, but that's one of those that they can make like Blind Watch. Why? No, is it Blind Watch the moon map on the outside with snipers on the out right?
No.
Blind
No, that's First Light is the moon map.
First Light.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So that's another map that I would love to see come back, because there's a lot of inside spaces. There's a lot.
It's in there.
But I'd like to push in the spawns.
Mhm.
Is what
You know what I'm saying?
That's a fix. We can play those maps, just push them further into the interior.
Yeah.
If they made
I
kill
agree.
boxes towards I think this is what you're talking about, like bringing the kill boxes closer, so there's not as much sniper camping towards the edges of the map. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't have a problem with a sniper that wants to post up out in the rocks and sit there, because the only reason why they're sitting out there is for me to spawn and walk across that open, vast space for them to snipe me. What if I'm not spawning out there? That's the solution. If I'm not spawning out there and I'm spawning in the interior on my teammates, think about it.
Yeah.
So
That is
if
true.
you're in a control zone, right? If you're capping a point, or you're in the proximity of a control zone, your teammates can't spawn on you, right? But if you're fighting in a gunfight, or if you're not in danger, you know how they have that mechanism where you're in a gunfight, it doesn't spawn you there, because that would be unfair. But if you're in the process of being in the game somewhere in the interior, spawn a teammate on you, right? I don't know.
Yeah, if you're not close to enemies, but you're closer than a quarter mile away.
That's right.
So
You do
one
like
quick-
Battlefield and just choose where you're gonna spawn.
I love that idea. That battlefield mechanic of spawning is cool as hell, man. I love it.
Yeah.
One quick thing about Bastion, because it is a map that's available for play. I think I was testing Bad Juju footage, and we loaded in. I was like, oh, I'm going to leave. But then my fire team was like, we had a full 6-man, and I was like, no, we're just going to have fun. We're just going to have fun. So the entire enemy team, except one person, left 10 seconds in. So, we're killing him for a little bit, and then we decide, you know what? Let's only kill him with sparrows. Let's only try to kill him with sparrows. That dude got a breaker off meleeing us on our sparrows.
Nice.
Yeah. So we worked him into a cave, and then we're all like trying to ram him with our sparrows, but we're all so bunched up at the mouth of the cave that we're just knocking around each other. We lose momentum. We'll just kind of bump into him, but he doesn't kill him, and then he just sits there and stabs us, and we die. It was great.
Man.
And then he ended up like getting something like a 2,000 point lead on us while we were trying to kill him on sparrows. And then his team filled out and then proceeded to be filled out with only sweaty people with thorns and stuff. And then it was a massacre after that, because I was just like, I'm still only going to be on my sparrow because I can't take this map seriously right now.
That's the kind of story, Patrick, that makes me just want private matches and custom.
I know.
I was just
Yeah.
thinking
Just
that,
doing
Briar.
stupid shit
Just
like
thinking
that is so much fun.
Oh,
It
you
was
know
great.
how much fun it would be to create a Mike Myers type game mode. Just
Mike Myers type game map, was that?
you guys don't know that from Call of Duty.
I
Michael
don't.
Myers?
No, I'm not familiar with that game mode type.
From Call of Duty Ghosts.
Well, no, it's
They added
been around forever. The chat will probably be able to write up the better details of what it is. But Michael Myers is like it's like the one person spawns in as Michael Myers, and they have a like more powers. They have more damage than you, and they have like more
They're like
abilities.
They're
And
like a
then-
juggernaut?
So it's 1v. It's like Juggernaut, I guess. But the reality is that it's a fun type game mode where you can drop in, and then it's unlike zombies where when you kill, I think it's round based, so you don't respawn in. Like what I liked about like a zombie mode in Halo, whereas when you killed them, they came back in as a zombie, right?
Yeah,
But
infection, yeah.
this is something different. That it's like there's 1v5, and then you kill people, and then you win the round, or they get points by killing you, and I don't know. It's
It
fun.
is-
I love
okay,
it.
so
I want it. It would
here
be so
is.
fun.
Here it is. Mike Myers player. It's a six man thing. There's five good players, one Mike Myers. The Mike Myers player does not show up on radar and only has a sword.
Mm-hmm.
Has like a max armor buff, so he can take a little bit more damage. So he can hide around corners, ambush you with a sword. You can't respawn, and the point is to live long enough.
It scares the living crap out of you when you're running around a corner and he's like crouched there and he's like, yeah, jumps out and you're like, ah! It is literally the coolest game to play with your friends. Like when you're playing a sweaty match and you're going through PvP all night and you're like, everybody's getting tense, and you hear people complaining about lag and this, that, and the other thing. You're like, all right, it's
Time for
Michael
some Mike
Myers. And then you just jump into a playlist and you go and you have fun, and it's just what this game's missing, man. It's like a
Totally needs it,
six-man activity that isn't sweaty, like a raid run or
Absolutely.
anything like that. Some sort of activity that you can do even in patrol spaces that allows you.
I'm not gonna lie. Last week when we were talking to Leaf about it, and he seemed so resistant to the idea of private matches, it really, it was
That
heartbreaking
kinda-
to me.
Yeah,
It was
that kinda-
heartbreaking, wasn't it? Because
Yeah.
he was like, "Well, there's a whole bunch of problems," and I was like, "No, there isn't."
No,
There's
there
two people
isn't.
in this
There's
world. Two
no-
types of people: the ones who make problems and the ones that solve them. Which one
Which
are
one
you?
Yeah.
do you want to be?
I'm like, all the problems that you think might happen, the community will gladly accept
Yeah.
with private matches.
Absolutely.
We should move on to
All
the Iron Banner.
I think it's a related topic because I
Oh,
was
yeah.
really surprised that it's going to be Clash on February 23rd.
So was I.
Yes,
So
it
was
is.
I.
Yeah.
Making all these changes to Control,
Control.
and
And then
Suddenly
it's
we
gonna
got
be
Clash.
it's going to be Clash.
I figured they would have like applied this new matchmaking stuff to the control type playlist.
So they did kind of say at the end that they might even deploy new matchmaking settings that favor connection quality over skill that could result in fiercer competition, but that threat should be of no concern for a true champion of the Iron Lords.
That might needs to be
might
a
be
will.
in the key word. So I mean,
Might
you're
needs to
doing
be
such
a
good work on
will.
control. Come on, use it for the Iron Banner.
Here's the thing. I don't think they ever truly applied the same matchmaking protocol to Iron Banner. I think Iron Banner has always been a different type of matchmaking, and that's why people have always felt that way about Iron Banner. How they go in there and they have problems with the connections. It's because it's trying to match you up with people on skill level versus connection, and it's just straight up a problem. They need to move away from that completely. We want connection based because it's more fun. So when I see Clash Iron Banner, I'm like, it depends on those connections. If I'm actually going to play it all week, really depends.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, we saw the rewards this time, and it's the first time the sniper rifle is being sold. So I will be playing to get that sniper.
It's a low impact though.
Yeah, this is
I
not
don't
an
care.
FPS.
I am 100% aware of the stats, but from what I've heard from people that have been using it, it's a really it's still a really solid weapon. But my problem with the low impact snipers isn't that they don't res snipe. Well, that's part of the problem. The other is that the ones in Taken King, they all suck. They don't have high stability, so you can't make use of the higher rate of fire. So you can't, dome people. And this one is capable of getting a pretty high stability roll on it. So I would like to try that. I would like to try that out.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sniper rifles are always fun. I kind of miss having a high power sniper rifle like that.
I miss Praetus.
Revenge?
Praise Revenge?
Praise Revenge. There we go.
Yeah.
Praetus Revenge
first
was one of my favorite 6v6 snipers because it really didn't, the res snipe wasn't important, and really being able to be that sniper, that support
It was
sniper.
the best scout rifle in the game.
Yeah, man.
It thing fired super fast.
And with like no kick to it, and you could snipe out somebody that just had their shields barely off. It was
You could double tap somebody super fast.
Well, even then,
Real
like
fast.
if you followed your teammates, if you had some close quarters teammates that had like last word and were up front and maybe auto rifles just popping shields off, and you sat behind them, and you could clean up so many kills. It was the best support distance weapon, I thought.
What's the map where B is out on like a peninsula? And
Shores of Time.
Yeah, Shores of Time, and you know that like if you're looking at B from out in the woods, you can see across that patio into that little tunnel.
Yep.
You remember? I remember using Praetus Revenge, and people were running across the the tunnel, and you could double tap them while they were on their way across. Like that's how fast that they could fire and get a kill to the body. It was a ridiculous gun.
It was a really good gun. I also think the lower impact snipers should have more in the magazine. I think this one has 5, which
Does it?
It should be higher.
It has 5, so I'm pretty
You
sure.
think it should be higher? Really?
I would argue that
I don't think it should
because
be
you
higher.
get that quick double tap body shot, that you should be penalized for that somewhat.
Yeah.
Well, also, it's still a one-hit kill to the head.
Yeah.
To the head.
So if you had like 6 or 7 one-hit kills to the head, I mean, it's kind of broken.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm really excited to try out that sniper. Hopefully, the one that's on the vendor is a good roll because last time, as it was clearly showed by Hey Fitzy's data, drops aren't exactly consistent.
Yeah. Overwhelmingly, they've been good rolls though from the vendor, from Lord Saladin's rolls. So hopefully we'll get.
Sure.
Well, here's some. I know this is kind of going back to what we were talking about, but this is some good information and feedback of the people in chat. 91%, right? This is the highest ratio we've had of people voting for should Clash Iron Banner be connection based. Is connection over skill based important for you? Right? 91% are saying yes. That's telling. That should be what this is your community speaking, right? If you're Bungie listening right now. I don't know. So I'm with you though, Briar, though, that with Iron Banner and Clash being there, and I just think that they need to rain drops like manna from heaven.
Yeah, man. Give me the good
Make
stuff.
it
what
not
I've been
even.
saying.
It doesn't even need to be good stuff. Like, give me everybody in the lobby should be getting at least a blue. Everybody, no matter what, blue engrams, blue. But make them riddled with that whole double bars. All the way down should be full, and some of them are purple, but most of them are blue. And just make it rain like that.
And put some weapons in there, for God's sake.
God damn, put some
Please.
weapons in there.
Not all
Give us some
armor all the
weapon
time.
parts.
Just
Make us
have balance.
Make us rank up our
Oh my
Cryptarch, man. Do it.
Armor for me, when I get it as a drop, it's like, okay, cool, three legendary marks.
My armor has to be so specific at this point for me to
know.
keep it. Like the armor I have is already so good. I have multiple loadouts for every character, like strength and discipline builds, intellect discipline builds. I got arc armor, void armor, solar armor. Like my armor is, it's set. I don't need any more armor
Well, there's
until
new
the next
guys.
DLC.
There's new people. There's new people that have started in Christmas that desperately need weapon parts and armor materials. And what better
You're getting
way?
the armor materials.
Well, I have a problem with the mechanism that they put into it of playing for legendary marks and then buying the materials from the vendors. That felt like it was a stopgap, right? Where you could buy this stuff from the weaponsmith. You could buy stuff that would make
Are you
it
talking
possible.
specifically about weapon parts?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I saw that as
agree
I
with
saw
you.
that as a stopgap.
They need to
right?
drop more.
They
Weapons
just
need-
needed to make it drop more so that the person that started this game isn't stuck. Because, like I said, I go back to what my son's experience is right now. He's got like a ton of stuff that's all ranked up, but he can't rank it up because he can't get enough parts. It's just he's materials poor. So what better way to get it than by playing the game, right?
2 blues.
Yes.
2 blues is pretty good.
Just give us 2 blues at the very least. And every match we should be getting at least 2 blues and maybe a purple. Fill up that thing. Just
At this point in the game,
oh,
it needs like there's no point to like try to keep the okay. So let me turn it back here. At the start of the game, they want to kind of limit progression by having this kind of limited drops, and it makes sense from a game design perspective to keep people playing longer. But once you get towards the end of that game, that slow drop rate for everything gets unbelievably frustrating for new players coming in because they're on the same level as people that have been playing forever, and it's still frustrating for people that have been playing because they still can't get the shit that they want, like me with 1,000-Yard Stare. So you need to scale the drop rate percentages. They did it with Diablo. They've done it with Borderlands. They've done it with World of Warcraft, where
They've done it with
started the expansion.
They've done it with Destiny. They've done this before.
Yeah, they've done it before. They need to do it again. So just I get it. For the first 2 months, you want to limit drops. After that, crank that shit up. Make it rain.
Yep. Absolutely. It has to be adjusted because right now it is ridiculous. 10% of the legendaries I get are weapons. And they're usually not a special weapon.
I predict that this Iron Banner, we will get a lot of weapon drops, and they will all be shitty rocket launchers. Except for
need
Pope.
a rocket launcher.
Pope's Magic RNG will
Pope
give
is
him
going
all
to
the
collect
snipers.
all of the sniper
Pope is
rifles.
gonna. Okay, I got this one with Hidden Hand, Outlaw, Brace Frame. I got this one with. It actually came with 3 Hidden Hand rolls. I didn't know that was possible, but it has 3 Hidden Hand rolls. This one has 5
Aimbot. It's
rangefinder
got
rolls on it.
Yeah, right. This one's got 2 hidden hands. I don't even know that was a thing.
I'll make sure to report out what I get.
It's got a perk called Aimbot. Holy shit!
Yeah, it's Pope luck.
I don't know if
There's
it's
an actual-
I don't know if it's appropriate, but Slayer for the raid, thanks, man. Really appreciate it. And
Thank you, sir.
And chat, just throwing it out there. 89% of people believe cereal should go in first, then milk. Just thought I'd point
89%.
that out.
Obviously.
Yeah. Anyway,
We're also getting helmets to drop and
Gloves, right?
gauntlets. Yeah, so that's nice. I think gauntlets have only been around once for Iron Banner so far, right?
Yeah, it was like the very first one, I think.
So I got one set for one character, and I didn't get the rest of them. And they're actually got some decent perks on them, so it's nice to see these things come back. And then the PlayStation specific stuff is gauntlets and helmets as well.
I don't mean to move the podcast on too quickly, but we do have a date in about an hour from now, so maybe we should move on to Twitter questions.
I like
Wait,
Twitter
hold up.
questions.
Let me
Okay.
bring up one thing because
Okay.
this was an idea because I was playing Call of Duty the other night with subs, and we were talking about prestiging in Call of Duty and how it's crazy to think that you can prestige 10 times and then you go into these master levels to get up to 1,000. And then you can also prestige weapons, and then if you prestige all your, you unlock gold weapons, and then you unlock diamonds, and if you unlock all the diamonds, you get dark matter skin.
Yeah, dark matter. That's a cool skin.
Dark matter looks amazing, and it's like crazy to think how much time that takes to put into to unlock all that stuff. But if that was available in Destiny, like if you could prestige your subclass, and if you prestige it, like say 10 times, and you got some sort of buff for it, like maybe it was an RNG buff. So if you prestige your subclass, every time it was like a 5% RNG buff towards that would add to your end game content for drops and all that. I think people would do that, honestly. And if you could actually unlock all the skins for your exotics, and then you unlock a special skin for doing that, that would give me a reason to want to go get these other exotics I never touch and use them in the Crucible.
There would have to be a benefit for me doing it, but I would do it if there was a big enough benefit. In Call of Duty, it's been years since I've prestiged.
Yeah.
Because there was no benefit. You get an emblem, big deal. I didn't care. But if they give you a 5% RNG buff and every time you did it,
if you prestige your
stacked,
subclasses, think about it, like you had to re-level up your gunslinger. And every time you like up to 10 times, and you got like some
make
sort
that
of small
$25 buff.
$25.
$25. Activision caking in the money, but it just made me think, like, how cool would that be if it unlocked a special shader, class item, and emblem along with each prestige for that subclass.
I like it.
Like it's
interesting.
a big time. It's a big time commitment, but at the same time, people love playing this game.
And it would give you more replayability.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Call of Duty, I feel like that's their biggest innovation, is they put a carrot on a stick that I don't think anybody's beat.
Yeah.
It's called World of Warcraft. You cannot beat that game. There's no beating World of Warcraft.
So can we timestamp the World of Warcraft reference, please?
Can we get time to that?
Yeah.
Hour 8.
Hour 8.
Put in the
minutes
books. Thank you very much.
So.
Thank you.
We should definitely put a link to that every week.
Every week is the weekly World of Warcraft reference.
World of Warcraft, what reference?
The only reason I did it is someone in chat said, "Hey, we haven't had one yet." I'll work one in there.
You know what I was a little
You gotta
disappointed
shake your
in
pants.
is that you let Leif, beat you to the World of Warcraft reference last week.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm not the one that had to do it.
I'm just
It
saying,
was
I'm
so
a little
casual,
disappointed.
too. We also just brought it up real casually, and none of
you
us
did.
were like, we kind of had like an internal dialogue going on
Chat
amongst
went
us. Like,
crazy though.
We shared a look.
we're like, that just happened. And
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Let's just, yeah.
All right, I'm going to do some Twitter questions here. James Trinder, at James Trinder. What changes do you think we'll see with Mass Effect? I think he says MEA, and he's talking about Mass Effect, the newest Mass Effect story
Mass Effect
writer.
Andromeda.
Andromeda, thank you. Story writer working on Destiny 2. So if the news broke that Mass Effect Andromeda's story writer actually came over to Bungie. Any thoughts on that? I mean, considering we haven't played Mass Effect Andromeda, it's hard to tell.
Well,
Right?
He worked on Halo 4. He worked on, I can't remember which Dragon Age. He has a good pedigree for doing good stories.
Halo, not my favorite.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like
story from
Halo 4
series.
Whatever. But I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing for Mass Effect Andromeda. I'm pretty sure if he's leaving, that writers constantly leave before like the product is actually out, because once it's written, it's like, okay, I'm done
What are
here.
they gonna do?
Go
Yeah.
and find a new job. There you go, done. So I think it's a good thing for Destiny. Get some more solid writers in there. So
I just hope that there's a Bible somewhere that has like the story like moving forward, so we get a comprehensive story that started with the Traveler and the
would like
Stranger
that.
and the Vex and all these guys that were in Vanilla Destiny, and we get some answers, and it's not like Lost and just becomes complete bullshit in the end.
I agree.
is that
I
Mass
mean,
Effect 3 right there?
did we actually have a
No,
single
Lost,
reference?
the TV series. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Do we actually have a single reference towards the Stranger speaker and
The Stranger,
Yeah.
yes. Yes.
in Taken King? Did we
Yes.
have a reference? Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty limited, but basically it's kind of more or less confirmed that the Stranger's been working with Rasputin, from what I
Is it in
understand.
the Grimoire or was it in the game?
I believe it's in the Grimoire.
That doesn't count.
So deep.
So
You got to
deep.
like pan for so much gold to get one little
Ugh.
nugget.
Well, you asked. You weren't specific.
I really appreciate those guys who make those really awesome videos like Sir Wallen and My Name is Bife, like, and they go into the Grimoire and like really extract all the nuggets
It's
worth knowing.
interesting. Yeah,
But it sure would be nice if that shit was in the game.
Yes.
absolutely.
Sid at Noah Yoder, what's your guys' opinions on Bungie giving out 320 ghosts? Better than 15 motes, right?
Hmm.
Definitely better than 15 minutes.
I think it was a
Yeah.
good. I think it was a good response to
Mhm.
what the problem was at the time.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I think it was an appropriate response to the fact that the community felt that their drop rate for loot was poor in Crimson Doubles, and how do they respond to that? They can't go back in time and fix it, right? They can fix it for the next one. So what do? You guarantee reward at that point, and I
Yeah.
think that's a smart move.
And I appreciate everybody who gives us credit for making that happen, even though I don't know if it's really deserved.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure the entire community voicing their opinion about it is the real reason I got changed.
Yeah.
Still,
yeah.
thanks.
No, we do
Yeah.
appreciate you guys giving
Kudos.
us that. Yeah.
Slayer Age actually, he streamed for 24 hours
Yep.
trying to get Gigo shells. You know how many he got? One.
One.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
At
one.
the very beginning. The very beginning.
So I did 5 hours right before the event ended, and I got 3 chocolate go shells, no crimson. I witnessed 2 crimsons drop, and I was like,
That's the one you
Ah!
want. You want the sparkly one.
I wanted the pink sparkly shell.
Who
Yeah,
doesn't?
I mean,
man?
it's
I
sparkle.
think of the ones that I got, I really like the one that has I got a really good intellect discipline roll on one, which I thought
No
was
way. You did? Really?
Yeah, it
I'm
was
shocked.
Hold up, Pope. You getting
No,
a drop
it
that
was-
was actually worth using? This is unprecedented. Can I get a
man.
time mark on here?
Next question.
Kyle Fawkes Williams at Kylos13. If it wasn't your job, would you still be logging into Destiny daily or even weekly at this point?
No.
Yes.
I would.
I would. I was playing the Division today, and my stream was coming up at 2 p.m., and I was like really looking forward to jumping into the Crucible. So, yes.
I love this game, and half the time I play it, I'd say the majority of the time I play it, I'm not streaming, and yeah, I would play it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said no. My reason being is while I would still have interest in the game, and I would definitely be coming back for, for actual big content patches, the very large gap of content and the amount of time that it took them to address kind of the low quality connections. If this wasn't my job and I had played for 2 weeks straight of really bad connection based matchmaking, I would say, okay, I'll come back when this is 100% fixed.
There are times
yeah.
that I think if it wasn't my job to play it, that I would enjoy it more. Because
Yeah, I agree.
sometimes there have been points where I don't want to play, but I feel like I'm forced to for one reason or another. That in those times, I wish I didn't have to play, and that can burn you out.
Mhm.
Like that kind of activity can burn you out when you are forced to play something that you don't want to. But I don't think I would ever feel that if I wasn't forced to play.
Yeah.
If I was just playing for fun. But for the most part, I really do. At the very end of House of Wolves, I was getting burnt out.
Yeah. I played just about every day, and playing other games gives me a balance, but I always find myself thinking about like the magic that is in Destiny, and that's the gunplay in the community that happens. And there's just nothing else like it. Like all it takes is just a couple days away, and you'd be like, oh yeah, there's some real. Even though the connections are garbage in the Crucible, like there's something really special that happens.
Yeah,
so
it is. It's my favorite shooter right now, and I think that's
I'm gonna
pretty good
I'm gonna
accomplishment.
take this moment before we answer. We start the next question to talk about the chat. The question was asked, "What is Tefty's best quality?" And the options were the beard, the sense of humor, or the way he shakes your fantasy. And right now, it's a dead tie
Oh, no.
between the beard and the way he shakes your fantasy. So
I think the way he shakes your fantasy is definitely the best.
yeah, I mean, I don't
Clearly.
know what people are thinking. I mean,
Rip.
It's a strong beard,
the
but
beard
Nice.
is good, but when you're
The
talking
way
about
The
things,
fantasies,
right?
the fantasies are shaking.
I mean,
They're shaking all night.
right, and I think you can tie in a lot of his qualities to that fantasy shaking. I mean, when I close my eyes at night, it's the voice, right? It's the voice, not the beard, that shakes my
thanks, folks.
fantasy.
Thanks.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about,
Oh, no.
next question.
No, come on, I want to hear it. Let's go.
Next
No,
question.
no, wait. We Tefty, we've put it out there. We'll let you be the one that confirms it later on.
Oh my! All right, you know what? Fine. It's my wife and I did a music video 6-7 years ago, and we look like different people. We don't look like it's music. You know, you put on a whole show and the whole
do
thing.
we have a link to that video?
Don't do the link yet. Don't
Can
do
I
the
can I
link.
put it in chat?
Yeah, fine. It's whatever. People
All right,
are gonna find it anyway. So.
They'll find it. You can just pretty much Google "shake your fantasy." But
yeah. So Vodka, go
Tefty.
ahead and put it in the. Go ahead and link the video, Vodka.
Tefty,
If you want to.
I need to thank you for that video. I was doing
You're welcome.
double carries in trials, and I was kind of having like kind of a rough time. We had just lost a card on the eighth match, just feeling a little bad. But then I watched that video. I proceeded to lose the next match because for the first 3 rounds I was just laughing.
It may
so
or may
hard.
not be playing on the screen right now.
No,
Oh.
don't put it
wait,
on.
wait.
Pope, don't put it there. No, seriously, don't
wait,
put it up there. It'll cost
Don't
copyright.
do it.
All
Yeah,
right,
that'll be
all
copy-
right,
Oh,
all right. I'm not.
No, Pope,
I'm not.
there's copyright
I'm not.
issues. Don't play it.
I'm not.
yeah, there might be a copyright problem. Not that I control that.
All right.
Yeah.
So I won't do
Oh,
it.
that's
my
definitely
God,
making
bro.
its way into my streaming playlist.
Oh, yeah.
When I'm
Well,
streaming, I
for
got like
sure.
a specific playlist that's getting in there.
Just Tefty,
It
when
is
you
gonna be
show
a
up
given
with
thing.
like the spiked gel hair and the Guido glasses, it slayed me. I had to pause it and I just laughed. It was magical. It was an experience.
A true story. That was shot on a red beta camera before it was officially released. Because my buddy was in TV production, and he approached us, or he was like, "Hey, I want to shoot a music video," and we are like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome." He's like, "I got this really expensive camera that looks totally pro," and I was like, "Sweet." And then he had a buddy who's a kickboxing champion.
Oh,
So that's how. So we got to like get into that. That's how that ring happened, and like there was actually kickboxing in there. And those lights are from IKEA. Real talk.
And those lights are from IKEA.
Real talk.
Real talk.
Real talk.
you pop up on the screen. I couldn't anymore. I'm remembering it right now.
I mean, why couldn't I play it? All right.
No, just don't play it.
I got
But
it. I got it.
Everybody in the chat is watching that video.
They're-
right
they're
now.
already
watching
Nothing
that
but
video.
extreme love for
Oh,
Tefty.
Yeah,
Everybody's loving
it's
it.
epic.
They're different times, guys.
Vodka,
Different
you
times.
get the you get the reward or the award for best straw poll. So if you guys don't know in chat, like the mods send me straw polls and I post them. So I don't give me credit for them. Their creativity comes from them.
All right. Stephen Kaplan at Cappy_31. Besides Patrick's God roll 1K stare, which weapon's armor still elude you? For me, it's a Jade Rabbit.
Really?
Anybody
Oh,
still
yeah.
looking for that one thing? I mean, aside from the 1K stare?
I'm always looking for a new sidearm. I'd like a rangefinder feeding frenzy quick draw sidearm. Yeah.
Nope. Pope's got it all.
Oh, shut up.
Okay,
bet.
I'm gonna say
Yeah, what-
there is
what do
one
you
thing
actually
that
want?
there is one thing that I don't use rocket launchers at all, and I dislike them very much. But they're part of the PvP game mode, and if you're not using the Truth rocket launcher, there's not really a viable rocket launcher that I own. So if I'm needing to run a legendary rocket launcher, I don't have a good one. I don't know even what to look for, to be honest with you, but I am looking for a good legendary rocket launcher that I can use in PvP.
Honestly, the Trials of Osiris one's probably going to be your best bet. With
I've got that one, and it just doesn't feel like it's.
I know.
Rocket
The
launchers don't
Suros
feel that good right
With
now.
tracking?
One of
The
the
Suros
things about
ones.
Truth is that it seems like the tracking really helps on that because
Yeah.
the grenades and horseshoes doesn't proc like it used to. So a lot of times you see that rocket just sail over somebody's shoulder, and you're like, why didn't that explode?
Yeah, it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
But that's the net code in the game, you know?
Well, they toned down the grenades and horseshoes a lot.
Yeah.
No, I've hit somebody like within inches of their chest. It exploded and they didn't die.
Oh, really?
And it was like,
That's
that's
frustrating.
clearly a netcode problem. I was going to say real quick, what I want is a Grasp of Malak. I haven't attempted farming it, but it's actually on my list of things that I would like to get a god roll for.
I've farmed for it, and I've never seen it drop. I haven't even seen it drop for people in my group, so I just gave up. I'm not willing to do it.
I'd actually like a grasp too.
The Imago loop eludes me as well.
Yeah.
Jay Queege at Jay Queege. I hate it when engagement's over before I can react. Should fights be slowed?
Um,
So I think he's talking about the speed, like time to kills. Should they be slower than they are? I actually think that primaries should be kill faster than they do.
primaries outside of Mida, Latin, like last word, should probably be sped up a little bit. That's a very short list, but there's some that don't. There's some that do. Whatever. Not gonna get specific. There's some that do need to be sped up just a hair. But like the current ones, I think time to kill overall feels solid right now.
I
in
disagree.
PvP.
I think it should be dropped for most primary weapons to like 0.8 seconds. I think right now most of them hang out at around 1 second, and I think that's why secondary weapons are so powerful.
Mhm.
And I think if you drop down the time to kill like across the board for primaries, it would even out the playing board. Special weapons wouldn't be as powerful as they are, but you'd still have gun battles. Like 0.8 seconds isn't that big a difference from 1 second, that you'd still have those turn on you kills. You'd still be able to escape, but that 0.8 second would give you more of a chance to harass that sniper or kill that shotgun user as he's rushing toward you.
I agree with you, Briar.
And the last word, Thorn, Mida multi-tool wouldn't be such an outlier. You could leave those guns exactly where they are, bring all the other guns up to 0.8 seconds. I really think that would work.
Wait, okay. I think we're wanting the same thing. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're wanting the same thing.
You're coming at it from two different angles, though.
Yeah, I think we're wanting the same thing. Primary.
I will say-
primary sped up. Yes.
Yes.
Primary. Okay.
Time to kill lowered.
Okay.
Okay.
Primaries.
Yes. Okay.
I agree, and because the impact of special weapons is their time to kill is arguably supposed to be, because they're special, right? If we continue to go down this pathway where special ammo is limited, right, and special weapons actually become useful for special occasions, right? That's the idea behind them.
Right.
They should be a low time to kill because they're special, and you have to plan for them, and you don't have the ammo for it all the time in gobs amount of it. Okay, good. So then what is the competitor to the super at that point, right? Not that you should be able to kill somebody easily out of a super, but it you have to up the primaries at that point, and I think that's a perfect argument for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Esteban at Derek Guitar 1. What are your thoughts on a Destiny prequel that took place during the Golden Age or the events leading up to present game? I'm going to jump on this one and say I don't want to see that as a full game. I wouldn't mind it as a set of missions or a subset of an expansion, but I wouldn't want to see it as like Destiny 2, we go back in time.
It sounds like a mobile app.
Make it part of the future. Make it part of like the future war cult quest line as
That'd
you
be cool.
going back in time or something because they deal with all that crazy shit.
I would like that, but I don't. I don't think I would like to see it as like a full game.
Yeah.
Because it'd feel like we were regressing instead of moving forward in the plot.
Yeah. They got to push it forward.
Jake Queege stuck another one in here, but I like the question. Do any of the PD team use a NetDuma R1 router? Cheating or acceptable? You guys know about this NetDuma router?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm going to explain it real quick for people who don't know about it. It's a router. It's got special software on it that allows you to restrict the geographic area that you're connecting to. It allows you to see the connections, like where the IP addresses that you are connecting to are located on a map. It gives you limited advantage, I would say, and I don't think it's cheating.
It's not. It's not. Limiting your connections. Okay, you actually used it, right, Teppy?
Yeah, I have experience with it. So before the December update, it worked relatively well, and I would not say it was cheating because it prevented you from matching up with people with really high pings, which was awesome. Then December came out, and they changed the matchmaking, and then suddenly, if you had enforced the restrictions, you would get kicked out of games way more frequently, and it wouldn't quite work as well. So after December, it got broke for that one feature where it would prevent matching up with people with high pings. I haven't tried it out just recently, but I do use the router just by the router itself is really great because you can tell I can tell my streaming computer to make sure it has this much upload capability. So if something starts downloading or uploading on another system, it won't choke my upload. Yeah,
quality of service. A lot of routers have that. Sometimes it's buried.
Yeah, that's
gaming
true.
routers in particular will have that more in the forefront.
Yeah, it's very obvious. It's a very easy to use interface. So I haven't tried it recently on whether or not that actual filtering, that geo filtering, works with the current matchmaking as it is now. But back in December, it had completely broken. It was really sad, actually.
Yeah. If anything, it used to just kind of fix some of the more broken parts of the game, like connections. Making sure you match with people that are going to give you a good game. It fixed some of the matchmaking issues with the game. It's not cheating, but yeah. One of the things that I really like right now is the feature where you can tell where people are, like, so you get into a game, you can tell where everyone is located. Not like their house, but general geographical area. And it's really interesting to suddenly see, like, why am I joining a skirmish match and then I'm getting matched with people in Brazil? I'm solo queuing. How is this happening?
Very weird.
Yeah.
Brian at Hello Geek PSN. Could Holtz give us an update on how Just the Tip is going, or is it done?
I decided not to do it because it takes a lot of time.
How are you going to leave a name like that on the table?
Damn.
I'm going to leave it on the table.
You talk about SEO.
Just
I know. The tip? Oh,
I know.
Yeah.
I'm leaving that one on the table. The reason being, for me to do that series the way I wanted to do, it took an entire day's worth of production to put an episode out.
Took a lot of roofies.
Yeah, exactly. And as much as I want to like get that individual help towards people, it's not feasible for me to do that as one person. Right. It just isn't. And I need to balance my time properly. So when I do trials carries, it's just that same level of intimate experience. I'm not able to say, hey, your gun skill's bad or something, because I'm not watching you play from your screen, but I can talk about things that really matter, like your movement, teaching you how to push properly. So I'm still doing the same thing that I would be doing there, just during trials carries when I do those on like Saturdays and Sundays and Mondays. So yeah, it's not dead. It's just, I don't know. It's different. It's different.
And of that same vein, people are asking for an update on your sub button.
I applied for it again. I've heard nothing back.
Okay.
As far as, yeah. So hopefully Twitch will give me a sub button on my personal channel. No updates though. There are no official updates.
All right.
Benjamin Kerr at BH Kerr. I liked Leif's point about skill-based matchmaking. Mid-low tier players don't want to get matched up against top tier players. Thoughts?
I mean,
Yeah, I've had a few people talk to me about this. The main thing to take away is that it's not like just if they open up the connections, it doesn't mean that you're going to constantly go up against high skill players. It just means that the chance of it happening is higher. It also helps give you a chance to experience what it's like to get owned, which you could take that advantage and be, or take that experience and make it into an advantage of being like, okay, that person flanked me so hard. I was like, instead of getting salty over, I can just be like, understand why that happened. Now, if it happens all the time, then there's a problem in their matchmaking. But it shouldn't be a thing where every time you go in the Crucible, you're constantly going against high skilled players.
yeah, it's a balancing act. The main thing to take away is that it gets very tiring to play against people that are of your skill level, especially when you're on like some of the higher skill levels, and those people, because they not take the game seriously, but they want to do really well, so they use loadouts that are more close to tier 1 loadouts. So you're seeing a lot of last word doctrine of passing, Mida, Thorn, and like just seeing the really strong loadouts, and people that know how to use those loadouts properly. That gets tiring to play against all the time. It definitely has affected my enjoyment of the game, because I'm not saying I want to go in and just get constant YouTube highlight games. I'm saying I just want to be able to maybe go play with someone who's not on the same skill level as me and still have them enjoy it and me enjoy it at the same time. Yeah. It gets tiring. It gets tiring on all ends.
Pasta Beans at Pasta Beans. The Bungie web experience is improving. I'd love to dismantle and infuse there to maximize playtime when online. Good idea?
Yeah, if they can figure it out, sure.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. As long as they keep my account secure so nobody can do it for me.
Yeah. The thing that they probably, I imagine they won't do that, because just from a purely business perspective, you have to log into the game to do that, which means you will play it. Which means you will probably play it a little bit more if you have to log in to do those specific things.
The same could be said about item managers.
That's kind of a trivial thing. That's
infusing.
Not really.
What do you mean? What's the difference between going back and forth to the tower to go pick up gear and just infusing shit? It's just trivial shit that just needs to get done. It'd be easier to do on a computer, frankly.
No, it would be easier, but just speaking from a purely business perspective, they want people to log into their game. They're gonna try not to take away reasons for people to log into the game. They will do stuff that makes managing your inventory so while you play the game, that will be easier. So you're not having to, go to the tower a bunch like we used to. But, they want you to say you're at work and you're going, oh, can I infuse my chest piece?
Right.
Oh yeah, I have these 2 armor pieces. Cool. They're going to make you log into the game to go do that. It just.
I think if Infusion sticks around past this DLC, we might see this come to the web.
We might.
If not, Infusion might just disappear in the next DLC.
Well,
this economy might just be gone.
Well, I think that there's a component of all this that's also the lore of the game, and I know that some of it, for if we play every day, seems trivial, but the whole concept of kind of an MMO feel where you go to a vendor to do something. They're the person, you're standing physically at their desk that they're doing said work for you, right? So there's some of that too. I mean, you should go to the weaponsmith to do something for your gun. You should go to this person to do something for that. And without that, you're just kind of just a bunch of menu options.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm on the fence on it. I think I agree. Like, the convenience is nice. I'd love to just do all that stuff because people see my my postmaster get filled up constantly and makes them cringe. and I usually avoid it because it just takes time, and I don't really want to take the time to dismantle things because it's I get tons of stuff in there. But at the same time, I think the Activision approach, or what Pat is talking about, is 100% why they don't give you even more freedom in the outside of the game via the API to manage your inventory and all that.
Well, with the API specifically, they can't give you the ability to destroy anything because they have apps out there they're given access to that API. So
That's true.
if Destiny Item Manager had the access to destroy something in your inventory, would you ever trust that item manager again?
No.
Probably not.
What if somebody got into that? What if that got hacked? Or like you wouldn't want that.
Right.
It'd be awful.
You wouldn't want an API for this. You'd only want it to happen on Bungie's website itself.
That's a
Well, maybe like a nice balance of what they could do is have a checkmark system where you log in the game, you can select all the blues and then be like dismantle, one button. That'd be really nice. So you don't have to just hold square or X on
one of the
every
things
single
that
thing.
impresses me with the Division is how much of that they have streamlined. Like if you want to take all the mods off of a gun, you can press one button to do it, like stuff like that.
Sitting
Really
marking
cool.
all your gear as junk and then deleting all or dismantling all the
Or
junk.
selling it all in one go.
Destiny, please. Please. It would make 2 blues so much easier.
Who's been in this situation?
Blues.
You're running back and forth between the Cryptarch and the Postmaster because you only have one slot open for special
helmet.
items, and you
Oh,
got like
Jesus.
6 blues in the
Yeah,
the
back and
Postmaster.
forth, back and
That
forth.
Run
is
back
like-
and forth to Crypt. Go back at another one.
That
to
is
Crypt.
nearly every stream for me.
Oh my god.
Nearly every single stream in every
Absolutely.
single slot.
Andy at ArloCon. Would a big team battle playlist be a welcome addition to Destiny 2?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Good answer.
I would love to play First Light, Bastion, Skyshock with 9v9 or 12v12. That would be fun.
We're getting close to the end, and we still got to do sign-offs. So should I ask the last question?
We should power
Yes.
through.
Power
do
through.
it.
You want to do like a rapid fire of like 5
Let's go
questions?
rapid fire. Let's go.
Knock
All
it
right.
out.
D-Rock. What do you guys think of cross-platform characters?
Sure. Go for it.
Yes,
Love
you
it.
would.
Yes,
Do
that
it.
would be fantastic.
Yes, I want
Okay,
it all.
next.
Justin Gomillion at Gunners Fan. What are the chances that we get new Strike Pacific loot with potential updated new strikes in the spring update?
My possibility.
Yeah, I would
My
say like
opinion.
99%.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
Okay.
really? You think for sure? Wow. Okay.
Onyx,
I'm thinking 50-50. Yeah. No, go for it. Go for it.
Onyx M Dragon at Onyx Arlen. Which was better to year 1 trials or year 2 trials?
Year 2
Year two
trials doesn't have
trials.
Thorn.
Year 2
Year 2
trials.
trials doesn't have Thorn, so year 2.
Absolutely,
There we
year
go.
2
I
trials.
think year
Sports
2
families-
trials in the first month. Not right now.
Sports Family 77. When did the crew members get into video games? What games and systems? This is not a rapid fire question.
Got
Make it happen, guys.
Atari.
Make it happen.
Atari.
Yeah. First game and system go.
Atari.
NES.
What was
Uh,
your first game?
Mac
The-
2E.
my first game was on the Mac. It was Apple IIe, and it was Zork.
Yeah.
I had a Nintendo NES, and it was Super Mario Brothers.
Jacob Dowell, assuming there's no new raid in the spring update, what would you guys think of taking themed weapons for new challenges? We already have taken themed weapons.
Yeah, sure. Make them more taken. Make them more blacker with more
More black.
crazy. More blacker.
More black.
Andrew Ferrara at Fox in a Wolfpack. How much do you think item level is going to go up with the spring DLC?
20.
30.
40.
69.
Dude,
69.
No, that's not how you do it. You have to bid one of us by. You have
Yes,
to bid one
come
of us
on,
down
Telty.
by one.
You're the last to vote.
420,
Price is right
69.
rule. You can
Drag
bid
Scoper.
51.
Drag Scoper, YOLO, Swagga, Swagga.
that's a class. If you could add one and one feature alone into the game, what would it be?
Wait, what was that?
If you could
one more
add
time.
one feature into the game, what would it be?
Better net code.
Custom games.
Your mom.
mode.
I don't know. Custom games.
Your mom. God.
Oh, what if we all get our answers put into the game? You got to do something different, Pat. Come on.
What if Patrick actually got his mom
Forge
in the game
mode.
now?
I'm not gonna lie. This next guy
Forge
gets
mode.
it because of his handle. Toilet Smasher.
Yes.
What do you think about reverse boosters?
Oh, what was the question? I was laughing.
What do you
know.
think about reverse boosters?
Lame.
What is reverse boosters?
Don't
who
don't encourage people.
intentionally lower their like ELO in their KD so that they can play against weaker players.
That's lame.
It speaks to the frustrations of skill-based matchmaking. How you can't have
Yeah.
a game. You just want to have pizza and beer and chill. So you make a Smurf account to go in and then just not care. There's some people that will do it maliciously so they can, God damn, I got like 69 kills in this game.
YouTubers are famous for this.
Yeah, YouTubers are famous for it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I mean, come on, the skill-based matchmaking kind of forced that to happen too.
Right.
So
They're the product of their own demise, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's lame, but I completely understand why somebody would do it. And at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's Bungie's problem.
Yeah.
GE at Gabriel Inaki. Do you think shader drops in Trials of Osiris are bugged? They seem to be the most rare things to drop in the game.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it with the way drops are in this game right now. With how much PvP drop rates just straight up suck. Yeah, sure. They're probably bugged.
I think-
I wish I got materials for them. Every time I dismantle them, I get nothing.
I hate
Oh
you so
man,
much,
I want to give you
bro.
the middle finger right now so bad.
I think the loot table might genuinely be bugged in Destiny.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna stop commenting on loot then, because it's like, but I get them all the time. They
How
just
can
drop.
one guy get all the loot drops?
I don't know. There's other people that are commiserating. I'm finding other people like me on my Twitter account that are like,
Oh,
dude.
do you
I'm
have a
so
support
happy
group
for
Yeah,
you.
we have a
with awesome
support group.
RNG?
We have a support group for the RNG like blessed, I guess.
We'll never let anybody know
Wow.
where it meets because you'll definitely get bombed.
Well,
Yeah, that's true.
so we meet regularly on my Twitter page, and he goes, yeah, people will come in and go, Pope, I feel the rage that people are giving you. I get all the stuff. My raid team thinks, they don't want to play with me anymore because they think I steal their loot.
I play with a guy. He's literally Irish, and he literally has stolen all my loot for the last year.
Oh,
and a half.
look at the Irish.
man.
Wow.
All right,
incredible.
next.
Rodrigo Nava at Yuri691. Who is the voice of the very first Planet Destiny video? And hello from Mexico.
The guy that in the very first Planet Destiny video, the how I think it's the where we are now video. I think, the person's no longer working for us. Like they basically did one video, and it was that video, and that was it.
Don't know.
I almost worded that as he's no longer with us, like he's dead. But
doesn't work
no, it's
for-
like he's just he did the
Patrick
one
killed
video. There we
him
go.
and took his body.
Yeah,
He ate him.
fucking iced that guy so
Iced
I could get a job.
Do you know who it was? Or
No, I don't. You'll have to ask Ryan.
all right. Last question from Recon Skillet at Recon Skillet, spelled with multiple numbers in there. Can you give a speech in preparation against the Crucible Radio? In fact, I might have prepared something.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, let's hear it.
Tonight, another group of podcasters from Crucible Radio has come to fight us. A podcast that focuses not on Destiny as a whole, but only on killing the other Guardians for their own honor. In front of me, I see the members of the Planet Destiny podcast, a podcast devoted to truth and justice and distributing commentary and information for all those who enjoy the bounties of the universe. So I ask you, fellow members of the Planet Destiny podcast team, will you fight? Will you, to your last breath, defend those players, the slayers of Oryx, the men of the Nightfall, who have no use for thorns in Crucible combat? Will you fight for them? I fight, and you may die. Run, and you'll live, at least a while. And dying in your beds many years from now, would you be willing to trade all the days from this day forth for that one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell your enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom?
This is Sparta.
Swear to God, that whole thing was original.
Yeah, that was
I
beautiful.
was half expecting you to start reciting the speech from Independence Day.
That would have been another good option.
Fantastic.
That's amazing, Briar. You're amazing. Thank you. You've inspired me to do great things.
I'm
Go
inspired.
kick some ass tonight, guys.
Yeah. So We
got a lot
gotta
of
fire
Jimmy
up
Russell
our
going on right now.
PlayStations. We gotta do the sign-offs. So we'll
Do
thank
we have to do
everybody.
the sign-offs after that? I don't want to do the sign-offs after that. I can't follow that, Pope.
Well, I definitely want. I think we should thank the people who subbed. Do we have that?